I was going through depression and I started drinking. I was drinking so much that I started drinking before I went to work because I couldn't even deal with the stress of me losing my baby. So when people think that they're eyeing stuff, they think that, oh, it's just a little bit. No, it's not a little bit. Sometimes it's a lot more than we expect for it to be. So I don't know how pissy drunk I was. And I'm not a drinker either. So for me to drink Bacardi before I went to work, I was stressed. So my question to you guys, and everyone should have an answer on this phone. How do you deal with depression? Because people go through it and some people don't know how to deal with it and they don't talk about it. And sometimes they get deeper and deeper in depression. So how do you deal with depression?
Hey guys. Jess.
There you go, Jess. Go ahead, Jess. I'm waiting for you.
I personally have dealt with depression ever since I was in high school, and I didn't even know it, actually. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't up until probably like the last maybe 6 to 7 years that I actually knew like what depression was and mental health and things like that. And I'll say that there were a handful of different things that help. So for me personally, faith is super important. I'm 100% reliant on Bible and my church groups to really help me get out of that. And I'm also very against medication. That's just my stance on it. So I've never taken any sort of medication for this. And so it's just really been like therapy consistently, like talking to, like finding a therapist for me was really important. And she's also faith-based. So that was awesome. And that's always that's been an outlet for me. And I think also like it was a little bit cultural for me where my parents and my family didn't understand depression, and like talking to a therapist was like unheard of, or like there was something really wrong with you, when it was just like, you're sad, you know what I mean? Or you're going through a tough time and you need an unbiased like resource basically. So a lot of that also I had to take the time to educate people that were around me. And they've come around actually. So that's been really cool to see like where my cousins now are going and seeing people and getting the help that they need too. But like mental health, I think was just like, for me, depression is just really staying faithful, really keeping in contact with like close friends that are positive, and just honestly reshifting my focus sometimes helps with like anxiety too. So like if there's something going on, I'll just like start dinner early, like cooking helps me, or go work out, or read a book, or just even get moving, right? Like going for a walk for like 5 or 10 minutes helps me now too. So there's just you got to figure it out. You got to try everything, and then you'll get into your groove.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that, because not only did you say that you educated yourself and you're telling people that you're going through depression, you didn't even realize that you were going through it. Some people don't even realize they're going through depression, and then they're like, wait a minute, something is wrong. And then they figure it out. And people, like you said, like your parents are like, no, you're not going through depression. You need to just, I don't know, go do something. You just go buy a dog or something else. Exactly. It's a magic. Or either they want to medicate you. And that, I feel that stuff just puts a mask over the problem when there's something deeper.
You're just like treating the symptom, not actually getting to the root. And a lot of these meds have so many side effects and stuff that you can actually do what the meds do for you through like sleeping better, eating better, exercising, like all that gets you further if you're consistent with it than any medication can. So.
Yes, I agree. And especially with therapy, because some people, like I wrote here that therapy, I felt like it didn't work, but you have to find the right therapist, because there are some therapists that just read questions out of a book and they think that that's going to help someone. It's not going to help someone.
Yeah.
So you have to go to the right therapist. I know that I went to marriage counseling and I was like, this is a joke, this ain't gonna work. And I'm like, oh my God, I love them. And I'm definitely even bringing that up now, because right before the call start, my marriage counselor, well, this was a couple of years ago, but they just texted me. So I was like, oh. So that was just a coincidence. But yes, definitely, because not a lot of people talk about depression, and you talk about it, and you even educate other people in your family, which is amazing. Thank you. Anyone else have the guts to share their story on how they deal with depression?
I have some.
Jessica. Okay, who's that?
It's Natasha.
All right, go ahead, Tasha.
So for me, I think, and I'm not downplaying anyone who has, because I think with depression, there's levels, or there's, definitely there's people who have chemical imbalances, and maybe medication may be really necessary to help with adjusting things. So that's totally fine. But for me, I don't know what I've never been diagnosed. I don't know any of that, but I know myself enough to know when I'm feeling depressed. And the first thing is knowing, accepting and acknowledging it, and saying yeah, I feel depressed. I'm going through a little depression right now. And learning yourself enough to know that your body may go through cycles of this, or certain events may trigger this, or certain situations. So being kind enough to yourself to say it's okay to feel it, to sit through the discomfort of it, because sometimes it's great to come out to feel okay again. Sometimes yoga has helped me a lot, or some type of exercise, or usually if I'm not exercising anymore, if I'm feeling overweight, things like that, or just certain cycles, I get seasonal depression when the sun's not out as long anymore and it's darker longer. I go through phases of that, and just being okay with making it an okay thing for me, saying that I'm acknowledging that I'm going through it, sitting through it, and then allowing myself, if I just want to sulk, if I don't want to talk to people, not feel bad about it, and then come back when I'm ready, and then go back into whatever activities bring me joy again. But I think also, if you're too quick to be oh no, I'm not supposed to feel this way, and let me run to do this, or speak to someone about this, I think our minds just need to go through some silence, or some separation from whatever's causing us to feel that way. So for me, I know sometimes I just sit in my discomfort. I'll be antisocial if I need to go through an antisocial phase. I'll be, whatever. And when I'm ready to start exercising again, I get into that again. And it's okay for our bodies and our minds to go through cycles and phases, I think, and for us to be kind to ourselves and know that this is just a phase.
Exactly. And thank you so much for sharing that, because you're right. There might be a time period, like you said, seasonal. There might be a time period where it happens and we don't even realize that it's happening during this time. If it's getting darker earlier, some people are like, oh my goodness, why am I feeling this way? It can just be because of the season, and that's just the period of the time that you do go through depression. And that's just what happens. You just have to learn your body. It's okay to have low moments, and it's okay to have high moments. There's nothing wrong with it. It's human nature. And listen, a lot more humans go through it than they talk about it. So, if someone's saying that they're not feeling okay, don't look at them like, oh, what's wrong with you? Or don't be like, oh no, nothing's wrong with you. You're fine.
If I have a friend that I've been reaching out to and I don't hear from them for a while, I know they're okay and they're just kind of not responding to me. I don't take it to heart, because I know there's just moments that I need too, where I just maybe I don't feel like hanging out with someone every weekend, or having long phone calls, just yeah, I'm good, busy, whatever. But I'll know, and some of my friends go through it too, and I'm not there to be hard on them and be oh, well, you didn't text me for 3 weeks, what, now you want to text me? I don't feel like that's my place to feel I'm more important than whatever they're going through. I don't know, that's just me.
Exactly. Well, the one thing that I learned too is, and I'm happy that you did mention that, is that sometimes if you see somebody that doesn't seem right or seem a little off, or if they call you unexpectedly, listen, take that phone call, because you never know. That can be a sign of them reaching out to someone and not want to admit that they're depressed. But that can be a sign of, listen, I need help. I'm depressed. I just need somebody to talk to. Yeah. So just, listen to them too, because that can be their way of saying, I'm going through something right now. So thank you so much for sharing that story with us.